Let's do that hockey. I'm Jesse Cofield here with DraftKings contributor Geoff Ulrich for NHL Opening Face-off. So we're going to choose between the top options in DFS and on the DK Sportsbook for tonight's NHL slate. So Jeff, we're going to start in the middle with the center position. Now, the Avs shut down practice in St. Louis this morning due to COVID protocol. We're awaiting word for what's going on. That means we may not even have the option to grab guys like McKinnon and Ryan O'Reilly tonight. So, is there a center to keep an eye on, keeping this in mind?
Yeah, obviously, I think Ryan O'Reilly definitely would have been on the radar if that game goes. Obviously, something to watch. Check out the DK Live app and stuff. But at 5,500, he's been playing really well. This is a night, though, when you look at center, when you look past McKinnon and Ryan O'Reilly, there's not a lot of depth on the slate. So I think it's a night where you look for some really cheap guys, some dudes who just might be underpriced under 5K. And there's a couple. Nick Suzuki on Montreal. Coming in, averaging over 10 DK points over his last 10 games, averaging 2.7 shots on goal. This is pretty good, solid production for a guy who's priced well under 5K. He's hit the DK shots on goal bonus a couple times as well. And he's playing alongside Tyler Toffoli, which really boosts his kind of upside, for garbage assists and things like that. The matchup isn't that great against Calgary. They're a pretty neutral team, decent, been better defensively of late too. But I like this price. I like that they're catching the Flames kind of off. On a back-to-back as well. Suzuki's a bit of an underrated player. He would probably be my favorite value target. Josh Norris is interesting too, though, going up against Winnipeg. Winnipeg, not really the greatest defensive team. Norris, look, the Senators are bad, but Norris gets a lot of opportunity again for the Sens. So I kind of like that price at 4,100. It really is a night for me where you're looking to pay down at center, though, because most of the production, the consistent production is coming at wing.
Well, speaking of wing, at wing, you loved Kyle Connor of the Jets the last time Winnipeg was in action. But quietly, his teammate Nikolai Ehlers has been just as effective. Goals in 3 straight games. He's 7,100 tonight. Another option for $500 less is Mark Stone from Vegas. He just broke a 10-game goalless drought. Are you back in either one of them, or do you have another option at wing?
Stone is a talented guy. He's really hard to pin down for fantasy. You kind of get that explosion game, 4 points, and then he doesn't do anything for a while. You can always pair Stone with Max Pacioretty and go for that, 5-6 point night. That's always on the table. And LA, quite frankly, hasn't been good. That's a stack I'd be looking to target on a short slate like this with not a ton of great matchups. Ehlers and Connor is interesting. Again, I like paying up for multiple wingers, so we can talk about a few of these guys, but they're so consistently similar in terms of production. They're both about a point per game guy. I think Connor has 19 goals, Ehlers 18. They both, Connor averages a little bit more shots on goal. Ehlers a little bit better point production and assists. But, whenever there's a price gap between these two guys at this point, you just take the cheaper one. So Ehlers, to me, playing, on the second line might get a bit better matchup. That would be the guy I'd be targeting because it is a really good matchup against Ottawa. I will say this. I kind of like the guy on the other side of this matchup better than both of them tonight. Brady Tkachuk. 6,500. He's cheaper. He had 5 shots on goal, last time they played Winnipeg. And the Senators did beat Winnipeg. I don't think this is a terrible matchup for the Senators. Winnipeg doesn't quite have the speed that a Toronto or an Edmonton does. So I think it's a better matchup for them. They are 2-2 against the Jets too in their last 4 games they played. So I like the price you're getting on Tkachuk at 6,500. Where you go from there? Do you go with the Vegas stack with Stone and Pacioretty, or do you just pay up on the other side for one of the Jets wingers? Again, my preference would be Ehlers, but I think you target a couple of these big name wingers tonight, and pair them with some of these cheap centers because, a guy like Tkachuk, Josh Norris, that's a pretty cost-effective stack.
All right, let's talk about the defensive side. The Senators have really struggled all year, but D-man Thomas Chabot has consistently supplied some fantasy production. He's coming in at 5,400 tonight. Any interest in him, or are you looking elsewhere on the blue line?
Yeah, I kind of expect Chabot to be, a fairly popular target tonight. Just because you look at the slate, there's not a ton of great matchups. You could look at Brent Burns going up against the Anaheim Ducks, and I do like Burns. He had 6 shots on goal against the Ducks last time out. The Ducks are just such a poor offensive team. They give up a ton of scoring chances, but as in terms of value, you really have to pay up for Burns. Kale Maker is back up over 6K as well. So Chabot looks like the value here. Winnipeg doesn't have a great penalty kill. They give up a lot of scoring chances too. And the thing with Chabot is he just plays so much. He'll play over 30 minutes a game in a lot of spots. And when you're playing that much, you're always going to have a shot at getting the shots on goal bonus or the block shots bonus, And if he ends up with a point or two, great. He's not the greatest point producer. He's not the most efficient fantasy play, but when he's priced at 5,400 in a good matchup, you should be targeting him. So I do like the price you're getting on him. Like I said, I do kind of like paying up for Brent Burns in like a GPP or anything. The Sharks had 46 shots on goal, I believe, against the Ducks a couple nights ago, excuse me. One of those is going to go in. And like I said, Burns had 6 of them. So I think there's a lot of upside there. If you want to pay down on defense, and that, we got to take the St. Louis Colorado game into account. Vince Dunn is playing a lot. He's 3,300. Obviously, we don't know if that game is going to go. If it does get the go ahead and the green light, Vince Dunn at 3,300 would be a really good value on defense as well.
All right, Geoff, finally hit me with your favorite bet of the night. Now, your unicorn bet was the Nashville money line over Tampa Bay at plus 145. You hit that. So please, OY Sage, tell us your unicorn bet of the night for tonight.
I mean, look, we're killing it with this unicorn bet. So I've upgraded the unicorn to a rainbow unicorn tonight because I think it's 4-0 since I broke it out. I'm going to go back to the shots on goal. I'm going to go to Tyler Toffoli, another winger I like, another high upside winger. This dude averaging 3.1 shots on goal on the year. He's been a little bit down lately, but I think his shots on goal prop is going a little bit down. You can get the over 2.5 shots on goal, Tyler Toffoli tonight for minus 155 on the DraftKings Sportsbook. I think that's a very fair price for a high shots on goal performer. Again, the Canadians catching the Flames a little bit on the tail end of a back-to-back, a little bit tired coming in off the road. I think you could see a few more shots on goal tonight for the Canadians. I like the over on the Toffoli prop.